while it would be easy for me to knock down, to put down, to complain about this vehicle, I really don't want to. It's simple. I mean, Mazda's intention with their all-new first fully electric 2022 MX-30, well, they're good. They're doing this for the right reasons. They're also taking advantage of the fact that they're using this to reintroduce some very specific to Mazda things, you know, that enthusiasts and just car lovers as a general rule enjoy about Mazda products. But the thing is that there are two very specific problems. One is really, really obvious, and there's a very closely related one. So two major issues and flaws, I guess is the right word. I don't want to use them. I don't know why I'm trying so hard to be nice to this vehicle. Typically I enjoy putting them down, but look, well, I'll tell you, right? There are two things about the MX-30 that I really like. One, I'll just show you right now. Mazda has reintroduced the rear suicide doors that were, well, first seen on the RX-8, which everybody remembers and most people love. So, you know, you can pull up beside some guy or girl and with their Rolls-Royce Cullinan and say, hey, I've got rear suicide doors too, right? So, and the other thing is that Mazda very discreetly, very recently announced that they are bringing back the Rotary Engine as a range extender for next year's plug-in hybrid version of the MX-30. So it's, I don't know, it just, I'm pumped about this vehicle, but they're, you know, dare I say it, the two issues. The first is obviously its range. I mean, Mazda wants to show the world that they are working on electrifying the present and the future as part of their lineup, as most automakers, not all of them, have done or are doing. But the thing is that with 100 miles or 161 kilometers of estimated range, you can't boast about that. There's no, especially in North America, there isn't a scenario where that is good. It might be enough for everyone's typical commute, but range anxiety is still a real thing. And to say you have 100 miles of range, it's not going to fly. And the other thing too, is probably right around the time when Mazda USA and Mazda Canada were working out how to price the MX-30. Well, Nissan said, hey, you know what we're going to do with the Leaf? We're going to drop the price. So, starting price is $42,000. It's about $5,000 more than a base Leaf with the 40 kilowatt hour battery, which has more range, more power, or just a little bit more power. I mean, those are the two issues, the pricing and the range. But I'm still really enjoying this vehicle. To summarize all of that, the MX-30 is about 5 years too late, but it's here. So that means we're going to do the walk around, point out a few other things that are interesting and unique, novel to the MX-30, and then we'll take it for a little drive. So as far as styling is concerned, I mean, there's no mistaking the MX-30 for anything else than a Mazda, just based on looks alone. I mean, no other automaker is actually going to carve out a grille from a bumper and a hood and make it fit the way Mazda has made it fit on the MX-30. And the proportions are very unique and special as well. I mean, this is the true definition of a crossover, and there's still a lot of EV buyers out there that want something unique, special, and different. Certainly the MX-30 is exactly that. A cool detail are the taillights. They very much remind me of the type of taillights you would see on a 50s American car when turbines and jet engines and all that were all the rage. Now, let's talk about pricing. In the US, base price for the base MX-30, $33,470. The Premium Plus is $36,480. Now, unless you live in California, you can't get an MX-30. In Canada, the scenario is a little bit the same. Now, I touched on $42,000 for the MX-30 starting price. $42,150 is the exact base price for the GS, which this model happens to be. Very, very happy about that. For that price, you do get these 18-inch wheels. You get an 8.8-inch display on top, 7-inch display on the bottom, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, LED lights. heads-up display, navigation, Sirius satellite radio, heated steering wheel, and so on and so forth. So it's very, very well equipped. The GT is $47,150 and adds leatherette, a moonroof, Bose audio, power driver seat, and a few other things. In my opinion, the GS has absolutely everything anyone could possibly really want in an EV. I feel bad, but look, because I have to. 2022 Leaf SV with the 40 kilowatt hour battery, 240 kilometers of range is $37,498. And the S Plus with the 62 kilowatt hour battery and 363 kilometers of range, $40,098. So $2,052 if my math ain't too bad. Less expensive than this. Obviously, everyone is eligible for all federal and provincial incentives. Speaking of provincial, this car is only available in Quebec and the BC. All right, so let's complete the tour. I've been unable to find official boot space or boot volume numbers, but what I did manage to find, focus, 325 to 350 liters back here. I've seen as high as 500, but just based on what I can see, 325 seems about right. There isn't exactly any storage under the floor. Not exactly very wide, but very usable and accessible. And that kind of reminds me of the back seat in many ways of the MX-30. By the way, was that 88.5 degrees as far as the opening is concerned. Door handle for the rear. And here you get a shot of how easy it is to get in and out of this thing, especially in the front. You also get to see the cloth seats, but the back is what's more important. You do have to duck a little bit given how high the seat is off of the floor of the vehicle, but yeah, so once you do that, you climb aboard and you quickly discover that it's kind of snug in here. This is the legroom based on my driving position. And another thing too is my legs are very low. I don't know if you can see that well enough, but it's not exactly comfortable for long distances back here. You can sit two across easily, and but visibility not that great, and the rear windows do not go down. Oh, there we go. That went well. But yeah, the cloth seats, I love the material. It's so nice. Everything about the materials in here. The cork, it's so cool. I love that. Such a simple thing, but you don't see it in cars ever. But look, fit, finish, more materials. I don't know how to describe this. It's kind of like a cotton felt type of thing. It looks like it'll wear out fast, but it doesn't feel that bad. Yes, I'm wearing gloves, I know, but I touch it without the gloves. It's just cold outside right now. Getting in and out of the front row is nice and easy. Start it up. Yes, let's try it again. Okay, we got this. Okay. So here are your gauges. As you can see, the battery is nearly full. No, over here, yep, 94%. And that's when I left. I had 158 kilometers of range indicated. So very straightforward, nothing ultra special or crazy here. There's the 8.inch display on top, which isn't touch sensitive. You navigate it down here, but it's fairly straightforward and very functional. This is your 7-inch display over here with all the HVAC controls. So you have your heated seats, heated steering wheel. It's very straightforward. And that's really the operative theme here for Mazda. Everything is very clean, very simple, Spartan, elegant, premium, and visibility happens to be really good when you look over here. The shifter is a little bit odd. I don't know why there's like an extra step, but odd. I know a lot of people say I'm odd, so that works out fine. Storage, as I kind of showed you, is actually pretty damn good. There's a big bin down here. Come on, focus. Yeah, right there. Cover them up if you're not using them, or make yourself an extra bin. It's well thought out. Anyway, but now is the time for a drive. Alright, so standard for all Mazda MX-30s is a 35.5 kilowatt hour battery. That can be charged if we go, say, from 20 to an 80% state of charge on a level 1 charger at home, 120 volts. It's about 14 hours. If you get a level 2 home charger, you're looking at about 3 hours, which is really quick. And if you go to a DC fast charger, 35 or 36 minutes to get your 20 to 80% state of charge. Those speeds are mostly a result of the fact that it's, well, I think the smallest battery currently available for a full EV in North America, which explains why you get 100 miles of range, 161 kilometers of range. That's something, I think I mentioned it, that you really want to boast about. And another thing, well, before I go on, look, every time that I've charged it, the highest indicated range was 158 kilometers. So which leads me to believe that at 100% in normal driving conditions, we had snow yesterday. Right now the driving conditions are good, but it's really cold outside. You might be able to squeeze out 185 kilometers of range. I've not driven any more than 80 kilometers in one sitting so far. And I still had over 40 kilometers of range left. Most of that 80 kilometers was done on the highway, so you extrapolate, but I don't think you'll get anywhere near 200 kilometers of range unless you do a lot of city driving. If you do a lot of city driving, you can adjust the Regen Braking, which is kind of a neat feature. I always like that you can do that. There are 4, well, I guess that works out to 5, because you can go down to for maximum engine That went on because I'm still at over 90%, 88% state of charge. So Regen Braking is limited. So you have like the strongest Regen Braking setting, and then one up, and then neutral, and then full like coasting ability, which I'm doing right now, which is, wow, it feels like it's actually under throttle. So that's a nice feature that you can play with that. But yeah, so range still, whatever. Well, power too, the other thing. I'm very, very lucky to have driven nearly all currently available for sale new EVs in Canada, and they all have one thing in common, and that is that they are snappy and fast. And the MX-30, well, it's not that either. On the floor, yeah, and then if you merge on the highway and you keep your foot in it, it kind of drags its feet to get up to speed. Even compared to a Leaf with the 40 kilowatt hour battery, which only has a few extra horsepower than this. By the way, 143 horsepower, 200 pound-feet of torque from the AC synchronous front-mounted electric motor. The Leaf feels snappier. And if you step up to the 62 kilowatt hour version, you're looking at 214 horsepower, and it feels like the rocket in comparison to this. So you're not going to boast about range, you're not going to boast about power, but you might boast about the drivability. This thing is extremely refined. It feels like a Mazda, which is an absolute compliment. Despite the electric power steering, obviously, I feel like there's some kind of connection between me and the front wheels. And there's a little bit of a lagginess, in the on-center feel. And sometimes the assistance varies if you're doing, like some switchbacks. But even so, I feel like there's natural resistance from the front wheels, which is a nice thing. The brakes feel great, and the chassis, the suspension, the way it's tuned, it's really, really nice. I have nothing to. It's a rear torsion beam, but in a Mazda, that probably means more positive than anything else. Ride quality is nice. It handles nice. It's so the drive is great. But the thing is. And I'm really racking my brain, and I'm going to be absolutely honest with all 4 of you watching, and this is like my 3rd take, and I'm trying to find a good reason that you want to get this. Normally you'd say, or I'd say, this is a great first EV, but it's not really, because it's too expensive compared to the Leaf. I'd say it's a fabulous urban EV because of its size and nimbleness and, good driving characteristics, but it's too expensive. I kind of mentioned that, this EV would have been great 5 years ago, but even 5 years ago, for about the same money, if not less than this, I think first year for the e-Golf was 2017, so we're moments away from 22. So an e-Golf had more power, more range for less money. It wouldn't have fit even then. It truly, really, absolutely breaks my heart that I can't say that you have to go out and get an MX-30 because it's a revelation. In fact, it's not. It just got here, but it's already behind. It's really sad. It's quirky, it's unique, it's special, but technology, the reason why you buy it, the range, the performance, it's not up to snuff. That is, at least until Mazda decides to drop the price of the GS by more like $6,000. And that's it, unfortunately.